were you working with Chill like before, like when you were making those small tapes, or did he happen to hear it and then that's how you two kind of hooked up?
It was all like no. So I met Chill at Raw Dope Studios. So
Okay.
Raw Dope is Shorty Capone and
Crucial
that's
Conflict.
that whole world, right?
Right.
And I think they had just was putting out, what's the name is, they had just put out like a compilation tape. Man, I can't remember the name of this shit. But it was like the name of some type of dope or something like that. It was some, but it had a very, very interesting name, and they had all these features, and it was like a Raw Dope Records compilation or whatever. And the producers who were on that just happened to literally live up the block from my mom on Madison. So that was Alizé and his brother. They were like the producers at Raw Dope. So they knew my sister because they literally lived on the next couple blocks. So they knew my little sister. My little sister, I'm living in Harvey. My dad comes up. I think you heard the story. My dad comes up, tells me go out west, you know. So when I'm out west to pick up my little sister, they pull up and they know me from like being a little rap dude and doing other things. So they're like, yo, we doing this showcase at the studio with Aftermath Records. So I go there. Big Chuck, who was working at Aftermath at the time, his Chicago homie is Chill, right? So they like bros. So Chill's there, right? Chill's kind of in the music business, kind of out. He had a little management company called On the Rocks. So that's when I first meet Chill, and that's when it became like, okay, rap. So you got a bunch of niggas in the room rapping, da 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 da. That night they put us all in a group, and that's where you get the pack or the Wolf Pack.
Ah, okay,
right,
okay.
And so Wolfpack was it started out as 3 people, me, D-Lo, and Navi. Then they added, me, Butcher, and Navi. Then they added D-Lo. So it became 4 of us. And so D-Lo and Butcher were with like Shorty Capone. Me and Navi was like with Chill. But the reason me and Chill clicked, because Chill just so happened to live in Riverdale. So Riverdale is right next to Harvey. So Chill, come to find out, Chill lived right up the street from me. Right. So because Chill lives right up the street from me, I'm going back and forth to the crib and shit. We chopping game and blah, 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 blah. So that's how that go. So that was like, man, it had to be fucking end of my sophomore year, maybe beginning of my senior year. I mean, end of my junior year, beginning of my senior year is when all this shit starts to kick off. So like that whole time, senior year, I'm doing like music shit. So I'm like, man, I'm on my music. Like I think I quit my job. I had a job, like I was working at school. I had like a little chef job at this one spot, and when that shit kicked in, I remember being at work calling like Aftermath and shit, like from the job, talking to Big Chuck, it's goofy shit.
So and that's rare. Like I think people forget how like rare that was in Chicago at the time, or like if you weren't in New York or somewhere else like that, like that stuff just didn't happen.
Nah, I mean. You had, but I don't want to say all that because you had different cliques doing different things. So people had different contacts, different connections and stuff like that. So we actually had to go to New York. So when it was time to like really get it in, we went to like showcase at Tommy Boy as the pack. Then we wound up at Epic. And then, but that time was so crazy. You just an artist. So you really don't know what's going on. Like you don't know why you're building, you just want to be a rapper or a producer. Right.
And you're super young. I mean, you're like 16 years old. So it's like
at this time, I'm like maybe 18 going into 19. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. For me, it's a blur, right? Because it's like all years come together. But what stayed consistent was I went straight from doing like mixtapes into doing songs, right? So I never really mastered mixtapes, right? But that's why I cut my teeth and got good. And then when I was out during that whole period of time at a pack, and then the early years, because I was still young Fiasco. Like I think I was still between names. But I was still young Fiasco, right? So you see old press ups to me to be like young Fiasco, right? Or just Fiasco.
Wow. Right.
None of that shit. And so it was there, but it was like a side name. But a Fiasco was like, yeah, that's Fiasco, like that in songs and shit, the whole shit. But anyway.
And you got that from Firm Fiasco, right? Like that was where the Fiasco came from.
From the Firm album, right? So the shit goes where it's like I hadn't really mastered like mixtape rapping, right? And then I'm going into songs. So now it's like you got to completely pivot into like song structure and thinking about choruses and 16 bars and constraints and being on beat and all kinds of shit. And it's like, okay, this a new like mastery thing. This a new craft I got to master, etc. But then that whole time I'm just writing. So I'm just hitting verses because Chill got me going around battling niggas, right? So Chill got me jumping around, just barring niggas up, right? And so you get niggas coming from the city, niggas coming from out of town. That's where Uncasa comes into the picture, right? Because it's like, yo, I got this nigga who want to battle. He from Harlem, and you know, Chill got his crew. So we was cool with Bryce Wilson, Jimmy Henchman, all these niggas, right? Like they just a part of like the, you know, the crew, right? That's just around, like, you know, this dude who know this dude who know this dude. So, you know, we meet up, do some shit.
So these people are coming into Chicago, and when they're coming into town, they're checking in with Chill to hang out with you guys. So like,
well, we back and forth. So we flying out to New York. You know, I think we might hit up wow, but mostly we was just hitting New York. So we was staying in Brooklyn, or we was staying in fucking New Jersey. We was just kind of moving, like doing it, going to studios. I graduated school. Me and Chill decided to start the company. We had kind of did the Rockefeller shit was around this time. So we're just moving and grooving, just jumping into different places.
Right.
So we decided not to do the Rockefeller shit, and we was full in on our shit. Chill left On the Rocks. He put that to the side, and then we started First and 15th. And then from that point, we finna get a studio, we finna do all this other shit, build the shit up. So Chill got me battling. So I'm just running around battling niggas. So I just got verses for days, just eating niggas alive. And so I'm doing battling, but then I'm also figuring out songs, right? And the difference was that my songs, because they had to be very constrained to serve a very specific purpose, they didn't really reflect what I was capable of on the battling shit, right? On straight bars shit. Again, going back to Fabulous, studying like Fabulous tapes and like listening to that shit, like this is what you got to be doing. How do you turn that into a song? And then going to New York and just, you know, bumping heads with niggas and hearing niggas rap. I remember I was on the phone with Cassidy, hearing this nigga lay shit down and shit like that. I was like, yo, I don't know how to do that yet. Right. So the mixtapes became like my first mixtape was actually the high school shit, which is gone. But my first mixtape is kind of like Fiasco, solo artist. The pack broke up. It's just me being a solo artist. It was actually a compilation, and it was like First and 15 Presents.